Good morning, me name is illustrious disciple of an angel, Neil Leslie Gilbert Williams Jack's nephew, and today's post message is about excuses to do something which is ordinarily unlawful. Today is Thursday, the 16th day of the month of May, year AD 2024. That's 2024. AD 2024, and the time now is 10:25 ante-meridium. Yes, I was just, I suppose, analysing the motives and possibilities as to why people will do unlawful acts or say unlawful things in slander or defamation. I do wonder why this is, and conclude that I would ask you all to consider why one has an excuse for their actions or behavior. And for example, I decide to slap someone, and this is a real past event. And of course, one could say, well, the reason why I slap someone is because, well, someone could say it's because I was mentally ill. Two, another could say because I wanted to start trouble, like to start a fight. I say a fight, but to assault someone, for them to assault me back, to instigate in an assault, because generally fight is a professional term for sporting bouts such as boxing and wrestling and so on. So effectively assault, I assault someone by slapping them, and I say, well, the reason why is because, now the truth could be is because I was provoked, although it isn't lawful to do that. But in order to defend myself, what alternatives have I? And of course, my place in time, at my place in time, before my place in time, was to commute and not to board a vehicle to assault someone. So perhaps I'll consider pleading not guilty, and argue that if I hadn't been provoked, the assault wouldn't have taken place. So effectively I didn't travel outside to assault someone. Using myself as an example there, some might say, well, it's because I was mentally unwell or something like this, and I have a history of violence and so on, whether it's true or not. And I've decided to assault someone because I'm mentally ill. So effectively, I do wonder what one's motives are. I do recall terminology where a person would say, I was only joking, or I was only being the operative word, as if that is an excuse or a justification to instigate or to behave in a certain way, to be excused from their actions of behavior, which of course I dispute and despise and so on. So effectively, I challenge the citizen, and of course I will ask the office of the public guardian to calibrate this, and perhaps the UK Supreme Court too, as to why people will say that their excuse for doing or behaving unlawfully, and this is past tense, for events that have occurred, that have actually happened, as in occurred, the excuse being is because he was once inside, as in I was once sentenced to a custodial sentence. So effectively, that is the excuse. Their excuse is to say it's because the excuse for unlawful behaviour has been due to myself being once imprisoned. As far as they are aware, I've been sentenced to a custodial sentence, and that my spent conviction isn't spent in accordance to their opinion or their position as a citizen. I haven't been punished enough, I think. So their excuse is to say, because I was once inside, I will steal his money. Or because I was once inside, I'll slander him. Or because he was once inside, I'll give him verbal abuse or deprivation or ostracization, or one of these things which, are considered to be linked to oppression and so on. So, I do say that, I was remanded in custody. I wasn't sentenced. I was remanded in custody, and the charges were dropped. They didn't have a challenge. There was nil evidence, and I wasn't compensated or otherwise or represented, so I haven't received any compensation, and if there was compensation, it's likely to have been stolen, probably with the excuse saying that I was once inside, so therefore I don't deserve we've dropped the charges, sorry for your inconvenience money, which is, the once inside excuse to get people from thinking that an award of compensation is due, and there isn't a challenge, it is due when it's due. I'm not saying necessarily that there is a specific compensation that's been stopped, but I would think that that this is the case. And of course, if something is due, it's due. When someone's paid, it's paid. When someone makes out a check, it's due to be given to the recipient as it's due on the date that it's written, and cannot be delayed or withheld for any reason whatsoever, because it is already authorized and cannot be challenged. Of course, you would or could probably possibly argue with this, but the excuse being that because I was once inside, which seems to be a mental condition by those that state it, because they're not thinking about where they are and what they're doing in relation that they breach the law, they break the law, they behave unlawfully, for the excuse that a spent conviction. And I say it's spent because for the sake of any argument, someone can say I was sentenced or whatever they want to say, but for the sake of the argument, the spent conviction of the 3 or 4 days detainment that it was, the spent conviction, that the reason for their unlawful behaviour toward me is because I was once inside. Now, is that fair? Is that just? I unwish those well, and as I say, I'll smash you with this comment, because you don't have an argument. You are beneath me, and you need to know it. And otherwise, wishing that lawful law officials and those that work for law and those that represent righteousness, wishing you very well. Goodbye.